Hey, shalom, shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Kwadash. Double honor to our apostles who are elders who rule well. Blessings and salutations to you brothers out there teaching and enduring truth with sincerity. This Rob Amar from the Nebraska camp. And yeah, man, we're headed into a perilous times, draconian laws, and Edom and the rich elite mainly are laying siege upon the American citizens socially. Okay, we're getting to a point to where the NFL, YouTube, are tightening screws. The Me Too type of movement, not Me Too, but cancel culture is getting some more skin, some more legs. And I say that to say because you have violent protests. You have a lot of people getting off. They had another mass shooting, 7 people dead, I believe. I think it was in Minnesota or something like that. But this, like I was referencing the NFL, they passed something where you can't make any dry humping gestures, and specifically any violent gestures. Can't act like you got a gun. Can't act like you can't do this. Can't things that are can't throw a grenade. You can't do a throat slit. Then you have Trump trying to eliminate any negative connotation in history towards America out of our books. Like other countries don't know. Things of that nature. And then you have this situation going on. Jimmy Kimmel just recently lost his job, all right, for the things he said against who. You know what I'm saying? And when I looked up the thing he said, it was just in reference to what Trump was doing and he was scoffing at mourning. He's supposed to be mourning, and he was like, "Oh, you call this mourning?" You know what I'm saying? It wasn't even nothing negative, okay? Because they need to. That's how they do. That's what they do to protect their narrative, okay? And thinking about another one as well. The medical misinformation agenda, the misinformation agenda. They're trying to control the narrative. They want everybody to believe one thing, one angle, and if you are opposed to it, they're gonna say you can't. Your voice has to be silenced. They're gonna turn you into the dead of the world. Okay, so we're headed towards the end of this thing. And they don't want you to speak out against Babylon, be destructive against Babylon. And all this points to the prophets, man. They may use Jimmy Kimmel. They may use your boy. They may use, kids here. They may use a mass shooting here, but it's all, going to point towards, this famine of the words point towards silencing us. This no violent gestures, no doing that is trying to quench people's spirit, trying to make them docile. Because Esau and Edom and these rich elite have something planned down the pipe that's going to agitate people. And if you get on the internet and start voicing your concerns and saying you just want to do this, you want to do that, in the land of the free, home of the brave, free speech, people went and died behind this, right? As Esau liked to always project. And now all of a sudden, you can't go on the internet and say anything. This ain't no different from North Korea. If you speak against Kim Jong-un, something will happen to you, right? So now it's like that over here. And everybody's like, yeah, those communists, they ain't shit. They this, they that. Those commies. Luckily, we're not in the land of the free anymore. Okay? So getting back to why I said it's about us, man, because what are we teaching? All right? We're teaching the second coming of Yahweh Shai. We're teaching that he's coming with a host. He's coming with an army. He's coming to destroy the daughter of Babylon. He's coming to redeem Israel and destroy 2/3 and the heathen that are in this land by thermonuclear fire. All right. Shit, in a few months or a few days, and then they use it's going to be considered a terroristic threat. You know, not even a threat. It's going to be, you're going to be considered a terrorist to say anything violently condescending towards Babylon. All right. Or towards a president or anybody. And they use this guy that wasn't even a politician. He was a podcaster. All right. And you know, he was inciting racial division, omitting racial division, omitting systematic oppression, you know, and trying to act like, you know, it's all logic and it's a business. Okay. It's not all logic. All right. It's not logically, everything ain't logically right. Some things you have to have empathy towards a person because you may have offended them. You know, scriptures say offend less. Okay. And, you know, Esau has done some atrocious things to human beings, specifically Israelites, you know, during the 1700s, the 1600s, the 1800s, even up to the 1900s, all the way up until now. But we're talking about, you know what I'm talking about, like from slavery to Ku Klux Klan, and you know, to speak on reparations, or you don't get it, but you act like it's going to bankrupt the country, but you can still send billions of dollars to the Middle East and in Ukraine, you know, sending them money. You could send out millions of dollars to drag parties in Brazil, but helping out Jake or giving Jake what they owe, you know, will bankrupt the country, and therefore you cannot do that. So that person's dumb now because that don't make no sense. No, it don't. All right, it don't make sense to by Esau standard. It don't make sense to kill anybody, but you always find a reason to do that. All right, so at the end of the day, they're always gonna with this devil. You know, he's a liar from the beginning and bold not the truth. The truth is not a destination for him. It's just, you know, another avenue to further his agenda. Okay. And it's crazy because we have to speak tenderly towards the situation because they're tightening the screws on it, man. Okay. All right. So I want to get this scripture right here. It says Matthew 5:10. It says, "Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." You know, so blessed are we. Lord's will, we're part of that number that are persecuted for righteousness' sake, who will be persecuted when we get out there. They're going to have a constructed angle to say, so are you saying you're doing this? Or are you trying to do that? You know, and then, you know, eventually, you know, prophet's going to wisen up. The spirit is like the wind, so we know how to say things and you know, eloquent enough to move around, but eventually it's going to be to where you can't say anything prophetic. Okay, you can't say the Lord is coming with a host. You're going to only be able to say the Lord is coming. You know what I'm saying? And pretty much it's going to tighten up to where it's going to be Christianity. It's the only thing that's going to have a voice. Okay. You can't say the name Yahweh Shai because everything that's associated with him is associated with violence or whatever, and they're gonna try to spin that narrative. He's talking about division and nigga, you know, because of the law that they put, you know. But people don't realize, and that's you know, to the American. I don't care about politics or what we are, communists, Marxists, monarchs, or I don't care. All right, we're Israelites at the end of the day, and we don't follow all that BS. But you Americans that believe in it, you know, what kind of country are you now? It's a real question. Are you a democracy? Are you the land of the free? Okay. You can't speak out against people that are a part of the alphabet group, because that'll take you off the internet, stop your voice, that'll cut you off from the world. Okay. You can't speak out against, you know, that Jabberwocky that happened in 2020. All right, anything the government do, you can't speak out against. All right, when it's extreme and extremely different because the devil coming down with great wrath, knowing he had but a short time, so he don't have 10 years to build up people accepting the alphabet group. He's just going to pass a law, and if you speak out against it, it's going to be called hate speech. Okay, if you have a problem with what a president did, or you want to scoff at it, you're going to be seen as insensitive. But here it is, Jake getting killed left and right, and they'll say, oh, the usual suspects. All kind of things in the comment board. All right, they'll call you thugs. They'll say, oh, black on black, y'all need to worry about yourselves. They'll say all kind of things, man. Insensitive. Okay? But it ain't that they're fighting for their own right, to defend themselves. They're pushing a narrative. They want to censor what you can say to ultimately not say anything against them, and they need the masses to agree with it, so they use their propaganda to get people on board. Okay, such as the assassination that happened, as of recent. So once you bring that up, or something that's relative to that, they're going to use that as a case. Because don't they do it in court? In case such and such and such and such, this happened. So I can say you can't do that now. We ruled it as wrong. So what they're doing now is wrong. So let me finish this off. It says, blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. You see, so, because again, we're prophesying the downfall, man. We're prophesying the end. The prophets have prophesied against many countries and kingdoms of evil and pestilence. They want to stop that. Okay? You can't say anything violent or hypothetical towards the government or people. All right? I.e., it ain't the people they care about. They just don't want you to say nothing directed towards them. But you can't just say, don't say nothing about the government or we're going to do you something. They can't say that. They're going to say against everybody. But they're only going to enforce when you say it against the government. You see? That's how they fucking work, man. All right? And it says, rejoice, verse 12, Matthew 5:12. It says, rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven, for so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. Yeah. And that's no prophet has went out, with roses, and everybody bowing towards him. All prophets pretty much went out on their shield, man. Okay? They went out on their shield, and that's what we're gonna do. And we, Lord's will, we I'm a part of the number, to pass through the fire, but Lord's will, I remain amongst the flock, man. And I'm saying it in sincerity, and I'm praying for the strength to have whatever it takes to do whatever path the Lord gives them to me, because this ain't gonna be easy. When it says great wrath, man, it don't mean when you go down to it's just rapid fire. It's just relentless. It's unremorseful. And Esau has done that before. He's done that with Gad. He's done that with taking his land. All right. So we haven't seen that in so long that we don't think it's possible. But they're getting back to that. All right. They're not taking the land, but they're going to take people. They're going to take social constructs. They're going to take ideas. They're going to take who you want to be. They're going to take your life. All right, and they're coming down great wrath because people are going to resist. They don't want to give their life up. They don't want to give up their so-called freedoms what America gave. So they're going to have to come down with great wrath, beat the hell out you fast as hell in great numbers, throw you in concentration camps. Okay? So I want to get this last precept real quick. It says Isaiah 29 and 19. It's like Isaiah 29 and 19. And I really want to read it in NLT. I just read it in NLT. It says, the humble, matter of fact, I read it in KJV just to get the point. All right. In verse 21, the point I wanted to get says, they that make a defender, Salakia, Isaiah 29 and 21, that make a man an offender for a word and lay a snare for him and for him that reproveth in the gate. And that's what we're doing. We're reproving in the gate. And they're trying to make us an offender for a word. So it says, and turn aside the just for a thing of naught. Okay. So when you go into verse 19, it says the humble will, this is the NLT, by the way, the humble will be filled with fresh joy from the Lord. The poor will rejoice in the Holy One of Israel. And that's what the prophets are doing. We're leaning towards his will. It's not just the commandments, but we're rejoicing in what the Lord prophesied to do. And we're leaning into that. Okay. He says he's coming with a host. He's coming to deliver Israel. And we're pushing that. We're living by it. All right. In our actions. Okay. It says, and a lot of people, just like I said, man, I'm be straight up. Nate and them they don't want no smoke with Esau, man. And they're going to keep on shrinking the more Esau expands. And they're, as a wolf in sheep's clothing, they're going to lead the lambs to the slaughter, man. They're going to not lead them. They're going to leave them. Leave. They're going to leave. Okay. They're going to sit there and make an adjustment or say something or turn around and blame you, call you a moron. You know, I told y'all not to be going against Esau, stupid. And you're going to be like, what? You've been teaching this for years. Now you're going to come out with a precept to try to make it look like it, and they're going to fall for the trick bag. And they're going to be upset, man. Okay? Because Nate is a weasel. All right? A lot of these prophets, whether they came from one West or not, man, I'm saying this in the spirit, what I'm seeing, because they're not defending Yahweh Shem Yahushai, man. All right? They're defending their own. They're being self-willed, defending their own pockets, and that comes with a price. All right? You have died to the Lord and lived for the world. I mean, it's supposed to be the opposite, man. And the Lord is not in a proof of that, and it's off. It's wicked as hell. You're a traitor, man, and you're appearing as though you're with the flock when really you're trying to get your fiat notes. You want to sit on your seat like the Pharisees, okay? And you want to get up. You don't want to get off your tail and do what needs to be done and roll your sleeves up and put your hands on something, man. Okay? So, getting to verse 20, it says, the scoffer will be gone, the arrogant will disappear, and those who plot evil will be killed. That's right. And it ain't talking about us. It's talking about Esau, because he's the one really plotting evil. He's going to say we're plotting evil because of the things we say, but he's actually plotting it. Okay? He's actually using CGI. He's actually the one that's putting stuff on the news. He's actually the one that's passing mandates. Okay? He's the one that's firing the shots, locking people up. He's the one that's putting people on a death row. He's the one that's creating private prisons. He's the one that's poisoning the food. Okay? Not Jake saying I'm tired of this shit. Not people that's reacting. They're not the ones plotting. They're reacting. It's a thing that's different from plotting and reacting. All right? Because it's evil it's the evil that he does, man, with his witchcraft of sorcery to flip words, man. You know, like I said, truth is not a destination for him. He'll be quick to say, yeah, aren't you plotting evil when you're saying? Shut up, man. Okay? We're not the ones that put, a Planned Parenthood and castration laboratories all across America. We're not the ones that's putting poison in the food, causing kids to have ADHD and using medical genocide on people and causing autism and all kind of craziness going on in this world. We're not the ones inciting violence through, the KKK or omitting justice and wresting judgment. Okay? But they'll try to have semantics and strifes of words. And our people aren't dealing in reality, so they deal with the words he say because they are homeborn slaves, man. And all he has to do is spin it. Just like he'll call us the most dangerous people on earth, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, not knowing that's been a narrative since the beginning. All right? That's been a narrative since slavery. They're hyper-aggressive. the XXY chromosome, and black people are more potentials to have it, even though Edomites were more prone to having that. And then they connected that with violence and try to say that's why we have a right to lock them up and be hard on them, because they're inherently violent. That's historical. They're over-sexualized, so they need to be castrated. They need to be monitored sexually. Okay? But you the ones that's doing child trafficking and trafficking humans. Who knows what you're doing with Issachar, in the Northern Kingdom, that you round up and take out without due process. Who knows what's happening to those people, man? All right? But verse 21, it says, those who convict the innocent by their false testimony will disappear. You see? We're not convicting no innocent people. We don't have no power to do that. All right? We could speak out, but we don't got no power to convict anybody. All right? Our power relies on the Lord. Say, wait ye upon me till I make thy enemy thy footstool, right? So we don't got no ability to convict anybody. The Lord is going to do all the convicting. All right? But we are testifying against evil. All right? Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2. All right? And they don't like us for that, man. It says, verse 22, it says, that is why the Lord will redeem, who redeemed Abraham, say to the people of Israel, my people will no longer be ashamed or turn pale with fear. Okay? So, Salakia. Let me give 21 again, because I think I left some off the plate. It says, those who convict the innocent by their false testimony will disappear. A similar fate await those who use trickery to pervert justice and who tell lies to destroy the innocent. Okay? CGI and propaganda news and omitting justice and things like that, man. You ain't doing nothing but enraging the people. But then you create a law, which is a glass ceiling, so they can't react, man. And Najee got a bottle in. Edom got a bottle in. And Edom is gonna snap, man. All right, Jake ain't gonna do all that snapping. Jake went through slavery. All right, but he ain't with that. Especially these the social class that you created. They're not used to nothing. They're not used to no persecution. Okay, these cats want to be furries. They want to be called they, them, and they want everything. They're like a bad kid in the store that just want they kicking and screaming over they can't get the specific snack that they want. Okay? Jake couldn't even open a box of cereal the wrong way. We already used to being at the bottom and suffering. But the social class you created ain't used to that, man. They're not used to going without. They want free schooling. They want to be the top and not lay a hand on nothing. They don't want to put their hand on any type of military fatigue or anything, but they want everything. You know what I'm saying? And Esau created this because he knew that the working class, the union, the brave of their flock of America, from Esau to anyone, they all went to war, died off, or they're suppressed through toxic masculinity, and they upheld the social class as the backbone of America so that they can pass laws. And now that a lot of laws are passed, now they're trying to turn on them and throw them away. But these people are snapping and losing it, man, because they ain't right, And now you're getting all this craziness. But either way it goes, in Salakia, these social classes, they don't understand reality because they're not living in it. They're living in the reality of what the government tells them. You can go to school and be great. You are great. No matter what you do, participation trophies. You could be anything you want. You could be an animal. You could be any gender. Okay? Your mind, what you think, your logic, not your logic, but your theories trumps reality. Okay? You can marry a robot. Ain't no dude that went to the army is gonna come back. I'm talking about Desert Storm, Vietnam cat come back and he want to marry a robot, man. Those were real men. The one that stormed Normandy and got wiped out. Okay? Behind what? What was the reason? All right? Vietnam. All right? What was the reason? Okay? That's a different subject for a different time. But all those type of brave men were destroyed. Whether they were heathen or Israelites, they were destroyed. And Esau did that purposefully to back this country with the social class so that you can manipulate the masses, man. You know? But, yeah, man, with that being said, I give our praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. And I want to say this lastly, that we're not ignorant to Satan's devices. You know, the prophets aren't. The men, the Lord, whoever he allowed the Holy Spirit to rest on, to give understanding to. We're not ignorant to Satan's devices, man. So we're going to move around. And again, I want to say, call law Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai for that. Shalom.